find some kind of, content that you truly enjoy creating, and you would be surprised, broadening your content, how that can actually help attract people to your brand.
Welcome to the Insurance Refocused podcast, where we're highlighting real agent stories and how they are innovating to respond to the changes and challenges happening in the independent insurance industry. My name's Lindsay, and I can't wait to introduce you to my amazing co-host, who just so happens to be my mom, Carey Wallace. Mom, how you doing today?
I am having a great start to my day, Lindsay. How's your day going?
It's going good. I'm making everyone this week in my household get a haircut, including my dog. So I just got a haircut today. Everyone can tell me it looks beautiful. And Colonel, little teacup Yorkie Colonel, is at the groomer today. I dropped him off and he was all shaky, but hopefully he'll be home and be super cute for the rest of the day.
I'm hoping this is all because we're going to do some engagement photos. Is that accurate? Like, are we getting ready for engagement photos?
At some point, I never knew this was a thing, but I emailed a bunch of photographers this week to start out the week. Like, I emailed them all on Sunday, and I've gotten emails back from 5 of them that they're out of town until August, and we're recording this the beginning of June. So I don't know how you're a photographer and you like go out of town for 3 months and don't make any money, but whatever.
Apparently, yeah. Photographers make enough cash several months of the year that they can take a lot of time off. How about that?
I guess so. I would escape the Charleston heat for the 3 months if I was a photographer too. I can only imagine how much editing of like sweat and like shiny foreheads and things they have to do. But moving on from photography conversation, super pumped to have honestly a good friend who's bailed me out of issues I've been having like multiple times in the last even couple months here. Chris, founder of Advisor Evolve. Great to have you on the show today.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me on. It was great to be invited, and I watch you guys' episodes and listen. So it's cool to be a part of it because you had some really cool guests on. So glad to be lumped into that mix. So thank you.
Join the club.
Join the club, the cool kid club, right?
Yeah, cool kid club. Well, I want to start off today. So on LinkedIn this morning, I always like to start recording days by like looking at LinkedIn and just seeing what other people are talking about. And Sierra Gravier does a podcast called Bunker Talk, and she posted a clip today from one of her recent episodes that was talking about branding. And the main topic of it was that branding goes way, way deeper than just the fonts and the colors and the logo that are involved. It's really, your brand is really representative of your mission, your vision, the story of your company, your culture, your niches, hooks, call to actions, all of that stuff. And so really your brand is there to create connections with people who come across your website to convert them into being customers. And Chris, I know you do this for a living. I mean, you work with way more brands than I think I could even imagine. I struggle to keep straight the brand I have at my current job. So I'd love to hear your take on current trends in the industry that you're seeing agencies use to bring their brands to life online.
Yeah, no, it's a great question. I mean, I guess to kind of just jump right into it, I think the biggest and best way to really grow your brand, in 2024 and going forward is video. I know it's something that a lot of people in our industry talk about. There's a lot of people that have been doing a really, really good job with that. Over the last couple of years, I could name off a bunch of our clients, website clients that are really starting to up the ante with video creation. But I think, we have clients that sign up with us for website development. Everybody sort of wants to know, like, how can our website be truly unique to us? How can we be different from the other, the sea of other of local agencies and direct writers and whatnot. And, our answer almost 99% of the time is like, the layout of your site and the components and how you describe what auto insurance is or homeowners insurance, right? There's not going to be a lot of differentiation in that. There's only so many ways to, create a page of content about an insurance product, but, having unique human content, video content, and images on the site is such a big part of your brand. Your brand really is your people and the experience that you create in your business for prospects and customers. It's your people. Like, there's a million independent agencies, but if you're John Jones Insurance, there's only one John Jones. Like, you are a unique human DNA. And so I think that's the low hanging fruit in our industry right now is video content that really just shows the human side of your business, especially with insurance, right? It's viewed by the uneducated consumer as like boring, dry, stale, you know, um, a bunch of weird language that I really don't understand. And I think when you look at some of the big brands and companies that are doing it at a national level, right? The Allstates, the State Farms, Geico, Liberty Mutual. You can see that they really have tried to humanize what they're doing and make people laugh because they're trying to disassociate the negative connotation of insurance with their brand. And if you notice, there's those companies have probably spent millions of dollars of market research and surveys and everything else in between. It's all humor based branding. Everything's funny now, right? Flow, Allstate, funny, funny, funny. You could go down the list of, of these national brands, and they're using humor based marketing in their brand campaigns to really make people laugh and kind of forget about, the dry, boring part of insurance. And I think there's a lot of opportunity for independent agents to do that too. It's not just something that, is there for, these big $1 million corporations. If you have a smartphone, you can create very engaging content that you could have throughout your website that really differentiates your brand from other agencies. We actually built an integration recently with YouTube, where if the agency is creating YouTube Shorts, which is basically, for those that don't know, kind of like Instagram Reels, kind of that TikTok reel type video, but on YouTube's platform, they can be integrated in and pulled into certain pages on the site. So if somebody goes to the auto insurance page, there can be a corresponding video that pops up bottom left or bottom right, and it's a YouTube short. And it's just could be anything, a little quick welcome video, or like, hey, I see that you're on our auto insurance page. If you have questions, click the button below, and one of our agents can help you right away, that kind of thing. So I think video is such a powerful, we look at a lot of different analytics. From a conversion perspective, if you have a video on your quotes page above your intake form, you're going to convert more traffic into leads.
So Chris, it's interesting. Yeah, it's Chris. It's so interesting. I probably engage with 200 to 250 agencies a year. And so when we do valuation, but that's just for valuations. But if when we do evaluations, one of the first things I do is Google an agency. I look to see their online presence. We send them um, a data sheet to learn about them. They have to send us some information. But part of that process is we actually look and see, what do they say about themselves? What does their customer experience if they go to a website? Which ways can you interact on that website? And it is still astonishing to me the number of agencies that it's a stagnant page. Sometimes it's the carrier's page, not even their own. No photos, no contact info, no video, very little ways to interact. In fact, there was one or two agencies that we Googled and it was the wrong agency, but I had no way of knowing that it was same name agency, different states, but there was no identifying information for me to know I was actually on the wrong website. So it's does that track with what you see with agencies?
Yeah, unfortunately it does. I mean, I'd say it's probably, 90+% of agencies, and the sad part of it is, right. I mean, you know, every business owner, they want a custom website, right? It's like they want their website to look completely different from every other agency, which is very hard to do because a lot of, everyone is selling the same products with the same elevator pitch, right? We're independent, we're locally owned, we're family owned, we have great service, we have great rates. Well, when there's 40,000 people saying that exact same thing and there's no other content or experience that you're providing that differentiates you from the guy next door to you that's saying that, like, that's problematic, and for many reasons. But yeah, that definitely coincides with what we see. And, like, we have to have some tough conversations with clients and people that, prospects too. Like, it's like, look, like, we can't draw blood from a stone. Like, we can only make you look so unique. Um, but you really need to participate in that too. Like, you need to get us some really good images that we could use. You need to get us some video content that you created that, shows your personality, put a face with the name, that kind of thing. And that seems to be such a hurdle for business owners and agencies. And it's, I think, like I said, people are getting better at it, but it's still one of those things that agencies really struggle with. I think, they assume that they have to be this, like, creative person to create, good video content. And the reality is, like, you know, if you sell insurance, like, you have some type of skill, right? Persuasion to actually get people to, to buy from you. That's the one common denominator that, every business owner probably has. And that's what allows you to create effective content, specifically video content, right? Is the art of persuasion. um, so I think if people boil it down to, the skill set, what they need, it's like they already have it. It's already in them to create that type of content for their brand. But, for whatever reason, there seems to be sort of a mental hurdle that a lot of folks, and not, obviously agencies are time strapped too, right? I mean, how many agencies, Carey, do you talk to that one or two man shops, or five under, and they're, everybody in there is like the chief cook and the bottle washer, right? Like, everyone's wearing multiple hats. The last thing they have time for is, like, branding, marketing, advertising, promotion. And that presents its own challenges, right, for growing that agency. It's like, if people don't know who you are and how you're different, how are you going to sell your product?
Yeah, it's a super challenge and it's intimidating. Listen, I'm the first one to tell you that being on camera is not an easy thing. Like, recording yourself and then watching it back and then saying, "Oh gosh, I can do that 1,000 times better." The next
Imagine
thing you
imagine having to edit your own audio once a week every Sunday night when you're having Sunday scaries. That's really fun. Try it out.
Yeah, it's not easy. Like, listen, none of us are saying that this is easy, but the reality is we are in a people industry. This is a relationship driven industry. And if you're not able to connect online with someone who's Googling you, because the reality is everyone Googles you. Like, I can't tell you the number of people that know way too much about my life because I inadvertently share it on here without even thinking about it. And they can Google and find out a ton about our lives, which is fine. Like, honestly, that's part of the thing. Like, I want you to know me. I want you to trust me, but it's hard to do. Like, videoing yourself and saying this is good enough, now I'm going to hit publish, is really hard. I had to challenge myself to be able to do it. And I also had friends that said one take, like, literally whatever your first take is, publish it. It's better than nothing. And I don't know if that's true, but I ended up adopting that because otherwise I found myself videoing and videoing, like it's never ending, right? So what advice do you give, Chris? Like, super easy, you're starting with an agency that wants to do this. Give them like the 5 things that they can do quick and easy that's going to minimize the time but maximize the impact.
Yeah. So I think the big thing is, like, the first thing, piggybacking off of what you just said, right? Like, don't be a perfectionist because that will hold you up forever. Um, you know, it's never going to be perfect, but like you said, like getting something out there is better than not having anything. So, that's a big part of it. The second thing too, from like a technical perspective with creating brand content, specifically video, is like, don't worry about editing don't worry about like an Adobe software that you need to like cut, splice, and put like subtitles. Like, you know, use your phone, record yourself, push it up to your YouTube channel or social media channels, right? Just start small with very quick, easy videos, and they don't have to be anything complicated. It's literally just like answering questions that prospects and clients ask you. Like, this is knowledge that you have already in your head. Like, you don't need to you probably don't need to like recite this, or like, these agents already know a lot of that stuff. Just, record, upload, right? Just get into a rhythm with it. Like you said, it's sometimes can be easier said than done, but it's one of those things where like once you get just a little bit of confidence and you see one or two people click the like button, that can be very contagious, right? So that can carry you, throughout. And there's a lot of examples, right? Michael Fusco, a good friend and one of our clients, just a great human being, but also really good at creating engaging video content. Mike Crowley is another one. I mean, Sierra, I could go on and on. There's a lot of people now that are, getting those reps, we call it brand reps, to create content, and I think the third tip would be, the the short style video, like the reel, is such a powerful medium right now. It's, when you look at social media metrics, like the reels, the shorts, they get so much more view time and click through than a traditional like 1920 by 1080 rectangle video. That's really like what is in right now, and I think I don't really see that ever changing. I mean, a phone is shaped, 19 by 6 or whatever the aspect ratio is, like that's never going to change. So that's how video content is going to be created in large part going forward. So, I say that because I think a lot of agencies, they think like, I got to go get a Sony Alpha A 9300 or whatever. That's probably not even a real model, but like, I got to go get all this equipment.
Right.
And that, I got to get a light. I got to, some of these guys, these agents have really invested in their production. And I think the average agent sees that and they're like intimidated by everything they might need to get started. And it's like, dude, get in front of a window. Like, you can't see it now, but I'm in front of my window. I have natural light. I don't need a key light. I don't need like light boxes. And, maybe get a $20 tripod from Amazon and just, click record, and just, as many hurdles as you can remove from the process, the easier it's going to be to get started. And like, yeah, maybe, 6 months or a year from now, when you're comfortable with it, sure, maybe then you can upgrade your stack. But, I would say start small, start easy. The knowledge that you already have, the persuasion skills that you already have, it's in every agent. It's just a matter of, pulling the trigger,
You know what's so funny is, while we've been talking about this, I was thinking 10 years ago, right, the big topic was blog articles. Everybody needed to write blogs. Everybody needed to write blogs. Now everybody needs to make videos. Like, I don't have a good answer for this, but what do you think the next thing's going to be? Like, I'm trying to think of it in my head. Maybe something in the metaverse, if that, like,
yeah,
like, I don't even know what that next thing
Is
is
Joe
gonna
Hollier
be.
here? Like, Joe Hollier would have a lot to say about that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I mean, it's who knows? I mean, it is funny to see how things kind of, progress. I mean, there's still a lot of agencies that they have trouble blogging for the same reasons, right? They're not, I mean, they don't have time to sit down and write. And it's like, and I think video is even better for those type of people, because you don't have to sit down and, bang out a 3,500 word article. It's, a 60-second video. But yeah, that's a great question. I mean, AI is starting to play a bigger role in, digital marketing and just advertising, branding in general. I think that's probably going to have a bigger slice of the pie at some point. I think it's still, at least for our industry, insurance, I think it's still um, a little new, a little like unproven. There's a lot of these AI models that are still, buggy and have issues. And, I don't know if you guys knew, but Google has rolled out AI overlays, which is basically just a quick snippet in some search results
It's very annoying.
that will try to answer the question without you having to click through to a website. Google's trying to keep you on their platform. They don't want you to actually click to a website anymore, but that's another conversation. But the AI overlays have been like really inaccurate.
Oh, yeah.
Like jokingly bad. I mean, there's a lot of stuff online already about like somebody Googled it and it said like pregnant women should smoke at least like 3 cigarettes a day or something like that. It was like
That's so bad.
completely like incorrect. But like weird stuff like that. So like they've reined that back now. So long story short, I think AI has a little while to go, especially within our ecosystem and how it could be used. We have agencies all the time, especially the last like year when it's really become more popular, that are like, how can we get AI? Like, what do we do? Well, how do we like use AI in our agency? And I'm like, man, like we have a tough time like having like, a CRM communicate with an agency management system. Like, let's cross that bridge first before we're worried about, before we're worried about AI. There's a lot of other things that need to happen first. But yeah, it's a good question. I think AI is definitely a component of the future. There's a lot of noise and stuff around that topic, but somebody probably much smarter than me and smarter than us combined is going to figure out a way to leverage that at some point.
I think a crawl, walk, run approach makes sense. Like, listen, if someone's listening to this and they're like, I do things the old fashioned way. I have the website you just described. I've never done video. Nobody inside my agency has ever done video. You guys you're talking about AI. Holy crap. I gotta hang up. Like, I don't know I don't know, man. I think the whole idea is there's a crawl, walk, run kind of approach here. And the thing that's true and will never change. So I've been in the industry for about 16 years now. And when I first came in, people said that the independent insurance agency was dying. Like, they're going to be displaced by technology. They're going to be displaced by whatever. They're going to be displaced by Google, like whatever. We're still here. We actually have more independent agents today than we had when I heard that first thing. I think the thing is never going to change is relationships. Like, interpersonal connection, I don't think is going to change. In fact, as technology is implemented, I think it becomes more and more important. So, from that perspective, you have to start somewhere and you have to be able to convey that. And it's not one to one anymore. It's going to be one to many. And being able to do that is going to be key. So, if you're listening to this and you're thinking, holy crap, I have no idea how to start, think about that. Because if you've got 20 plus years ahead of you in this industry, you gotta find a way to relate, right?
Yep. Yeah, you got to find a way to differentiate. It's such a competitive, industry. I mean, there's in any given market, even a small market town, there could be 5 to 10 agencies within a 3 or 5 mile radius. I mean, there's a lot of saturation, which is good and bad, I guess. But it's like, yeah, let's find a way to humanize our brand, our company. Start that relationship as soon as possible. Going back to video, I think that's a great way to do that. But yeah, it's definitely a challenge. I think it's not impossible. Like I've said a couple of times, I think every agent has the internal skill set to make it work. It's just a matter of having a couple extra minutes, to actually like put together a quick plan and actually deploy, get started. Pick up your phone and click record. And I keep going back to video. There's other ways, obviously, to build a brand, but I think that's probably a lower hanging fruit compared to some of the other stuff. It's free to do it, and it's relatively easy once you get started. But yeah,
I think once you're already in the habit and the mindset of creating content, like in a form of a blog article or in the form of social media or something, like every piece of content that you create, break it up and make a small video of it. And it doesn't have to be fancy. Like look at the people, even the people who we've already been talking about, but even look at Chris Paradiso. He makes videos while he's running at 4 a.m. in the dark while it's raining. Like, do you think that that's necessarily like the best place to make a video? Probably not, but it gets engagement because it's showing his personality, the things that we started the episode talking about that go into his brand. Look at Carruthers, right? He made one video a day for a year while driving Grace and his other kids to school. Like, he wasn't even looking at the camera. If someone was pointing the camera at him and then they slapped some captions on it that were made by an AI generator, probably, and did that. So for people who are like already in the habit of making the content, pick one tiny topic of something you wrote about, like write an article once a month on a broad topic and pick one topic from that broad topic, like a micro topic, and make a video on it,
Yep. Yeah, and there's also nothing wrong with veering outside the insurance ecosystem, right?
Yes.
Talk about content that gets engagement. It's I joke around. I've said this in a couple of other presentations, and people are like, "Well, what content should we create?" And I'm like, create stuff that no one can be mad about, right? Like cute, funny food. Like who's not going to read, an article about like bacon or, like everybody loves bacon, maybe
True.
like have a video about a recipe or like you're out grilling, and that's like one thing that it's funny. I started a Facebook group called Broker Smokers. It's kind of it's not as active as it used to be, but I noticed that a lot of our clients had this like thing in common. Like a lot of people were posting like videos on the weekend of like they're barbecuing, like making ribs on a smoker or like drinking a beer while grilling out. And I'm like, I'm going to create a group where we can all share like recipes or like strategies. Like I remember Carruthers actually, I was buying a smoker for the first time and I knew nothing about it. And he like laid this whole thing out, which really helped me. I mean, it was shortened my learning curve, like big time. But as an agent, it's like, you don't necessarily only have to create insurance based marketing. Like if you work out at the gym, find some kind of, content that you truly enjoy creating, and you would be surprised, broadening your content, how that can actually help attract people to your brand, even though you sell insurance. And there's a lot of people that are going broad in that way. I could name a lot of people that are doing that, but that's something to consider too. It's, you don't just have to create videos or content or brand collateral about insurance. It could be other stuff too that interests people.
It's funny you said that, Chris. I have an agent that was looking to acquire others. And of course, the person who's selling Googled all the agencies that were interested. And, it's so funny. There was 3 agencies that were looking for potential buyers. And in the first round, the agency that I'm talking about was passed over. It was not selected as one of the people that they wanted to engage with. But in the second round, he was the top choice for someone. And it was 100% from a video on his website that had nothing to do with insurance. But that potential seller said what he said in the video and how they behaved matches the culture that I've tried to emulate inside my agency. Therefore, I'd like to talk to him. Probably not the best, is definitely not the largest agency, not even the closest agency, but it resonated. Therefore, she felt a connection and he got his foot in the door, and he ended up being the buyer of her agency. So it had nothing to do with coverage. It literally had everything to do with who he was and who the team was that he's built. So it's powerful. It's super, super powerful, but it's not always, listen, if I talk about EBITDA all the time, nobody's going to think I have a personality. Like, trust me, I care about EBITDA. I do. I care about profitability. But that's not the entire person that I am. That's for sure.
Exactly.
Right.
Yep. No, it's 100% true. That's, like I said at the very, very beginning, it's like, your brand is your people, it's your personality. You're the only Carey Wallace, you're the only Lindsay Wallace. Like, no other person has your exact DNA. So like, be yourself, be human, be funny, be, authentic. And that carries a lot of weight, especially in an industry and in, economy where, everybody is selling the same product with the same elevator pitch.
That's right.
It's like,
That's right.
just be yourself. I mean, I'm by no means a perfect, steward. I rant on Twitter sometimes like everyone else
Ooh,
does.
gonna go follow Chris on Twitter right now.
I have,
It's mostly about
I
sports,
can,
I feel
yeah,
like.
I can have some like crude humor, like behind the scenes. And it's just that's just who I am. And, I may have been passed up on other interviews for maybe not being like buttoned up enough. I don't know, but
then you weren't a fit. Like,
uh,
honestly, you weren't a fit
exactly.
if that's the case, right? Yeah. So
Exactly. Yeah. And I don't have any regrets about that. And I think like as a business owner, as an agency owner, like you shouldn't have regrets about who you are either. Cause my grandmother said, right, there's a pot for every lid. So, if you take pictures of beer and ribs on the weekend, you're probably going to attract some prospects that have that same interest that you do. So to buy insurance from you.
So Chris, as we wrap up here, would love
Yep.
for anyone who's listening, if they want to reach out to you and learn more about Advisor Evolved and how you can help them with their website and branding and all the great stuff you do, how can they reach you?
Yeah, I appreciate it. So advisoryevolved.com, that's our main website. We actually just rebuilt it. Very, very happy with that. It took me a lot longer than I'd like to admit. And also email chris@advisoryevolved.com. A lot of people may be thinking like, how are you different? How are you better? A lot of that's on our site, but what I can tell you is that there's only one Advisor Evolved, right? Just like there's only one of you. That's our value prop, among other things. But we like to tell people like we're not just a website development vendor. We're almost like help desk support for agencies. Like we go way beyond website stuff, but also single point of contact for website development, branding, digital marketing, automation support. One of the great things about our industry is there's like cool little businesses popping up here and there, some of which have been created by insurance agents, right? Softwares and services. And I think that's a great thing. At the same time, it does sometimes create fragmentation where there's overlap between different service providers and software tools and whatnot. And sometimes you have 8 or 9 different softwares and services, and there's no communication between any of them. And it's like, we try to help that, help solve that issue, especially when it comes to, design. You don't need to hire a designer and a developer and an SEO guy and a PPC guy and an automation guy. Like that's all wrapped into one singular point of service. So I think that's important for me to kind of mention that because there's more and more website vendors popping up, and it's very much like insurance, right? Like you have agencies that have been around for 30, 40 years and they've weathered every storm. There's not a situation they haven't been through, hard market, soft market, whatever. But then you have a 22-year-old agency who just got licensed, who's saying the same thing as that veteran agency. And the consumer can't tell the difference because they're saying the same thing. And that's a really real thing that is also starting to kind of take place in my world too. So hopefully that kind of clues some of the listeners in. But yeah, advisoryevolved.com. Be happy to jump on a demo with anybody that's interested and see if we may be a good fit for you guys.
Yeah, and I can attest that I've thrown basically the kitchen sink at Chris before. I've had him help me run Facebook ads when that's something that he's like not even supposed to help me with. I've had him help me with domain things, even connecting my domain to websites that aren't even his that he runs for me. So Chris is the guy to go to 100% if you need some digital marketing help. So
So,
Appreciate
hey,
it.
Chris, I know we're wrapping, but I have a question and I don't want it to not be included. So if I'm sitting here as an agent and I've got a website and I'm not sure, like I know I have to do video, I'm not sure, but do you do like evaluations of what an agency currently has and give them ideas on how to upgrade it? Like, is that part of what you do?
It is. So we can do a complete audit,
Yeah.
front to back, basically, the actual website itself to check for any technical issues. And then we look at your actual digital footprint, check citations, check
Yeah.
actual like ranking metrics to see like if the site is actually ranking, if it is, for what keywords, like what type of traffic it's getting, backlinks, all the technical back end nerdy stuff. You can definitely do that. We've done that for a lot of people, and it's good to know kind of where you're at. And sometimes like we can tell very quickly, like without having to charge somebody. Like we could just say, look, dude, like you need to start over. Like,
Yeah. I mean, a health checkup
I'm
makes
not even
sense.
gonna.
Like this is
It
your
does.
online, this is
Yep.
your first introduction. I mean, honestly, we do a financial health checkup. You're doing a first impression health checkup of an agency when you're looking at that. And is it going to work for you? So,
Yep.
I think that's important. That's a great first place to start. Like, where am I? How do I, and
Yep.
what is my path forward? And the thing I love most about what you said was, we're not going to just do one piece. We're actually going to be a consultant that allows you to ask questions on how do I integrate all of these things and not have to feel
Yep.
like it's just one piece. So yeah,
Yeah.
I love that. I love that that's your approach. That's actually the approach that we adopt as well. So if anybody is thinking they need that, call Chris. I think he's the guy for you. All right. But thanks so much, Chris,
Yeah.
for coming on and talking to us. I really
Oh,
appreciate it. I hope the
no,
Eagles win
it was
for you
my
this
pleasure.
year. And if not, you know
Let's
what?
go. Let's go. Let's go. If not, we'll just put our head in the sand like we've done for the past like 50 years. We're kind of used to that here. So
You guys
it's
are
all
tough,
good.
man. You guys are tough, right?
Yeah, thick skin for sure.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for tuning in to the Insurance Refocused podcast. If you enjoyed the episode, please be sure to hit subscribe and leave us a review so you'll never miss us. Want to learn more about how Agency Focus can help you grow your agency? Head to agency-focus.com or email Carey directly at carey@agency-focus.com. If you need to get in touch with me, feel free to shoot me an email at lindsay@agency-focus.com. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you next week.